Namaskar my friends, and today I'm back here with another action figure review. This time we're taking a look at the Marvel Legends Daredevil Born Again Punisher. Now, yes, this figure has been talked about a lot recently, and a lot of collectors have already gone ahead and thrown him straight into their figure of the year lists. Did he win the figure of the year? Nope. But is he comfortably sitting in the top 10 and in some cases even the top 5? Absolutely. So today we are going to find out whether all that hype is actually justified. Let's quickly take a look at the packaging first before we take a look at the figure itself and finally decide whether this Punisher truly deserves a spot among the best Marvel Legends of 2025. So taking a look at the box, and honestly I really like it. I like the overall deco quite a bit. The figure is clearly displayed through the window right here, set against the bold red background with Daredevil Born Again branding at the bottom. Right out of the box, the figure looks great and you can see all the included accessories very clearly. On the side, you get a black and white image of the Punisher, which looks really sharp, and around the back you have the same image again, along with a short bio that talks about the Punisher and his history. On the other side, you've got the Punisher name printed, and the window from the front of the packaging actually continues onto the left hand side, which is a nice touch and makes the box feel a bit more premium. Overall, no complaints here. The packaging looks pretty solid as far as I'm concerned. So without further ado, let's move on to the figure itself. So before we take a look at the figure itself, let's first go through the accessories. Starting off with the hands, you get 2 additional hands in the box. You have a left grabby hand and a right fist hand for the Punisher. He also comes with an axe. Now, it's not the most well painted accessory in the world, but it is nicely detailed and the sculpting is quite sharp. Credit where it's due, Hasbro did a pretty solid job with the sculpt here. Next up, we get a sidearm with the magazine slightly sticking out of the grip. I'm not entirely sure what model this gun is, but you do get it in the box. The magazine doesn't actually come out, it's fixed in place, but again, the sculpting is good. Paint wise, it's nothing special, but detail wise, it looks pretty decent. You also get a dagger or knife, which is once again nicely sculpted, though not the most well painted accessory here. And finally, the Punisher comes with 2 trigger finger hands attached right out of the package. And that's pretty much it when it comes to the accessories. I just wish they included a little bit more. Now, as far as weapon storage is concerned, you do get a sheath for the dagger located on the back just behind the armor, so you can actually store the dagger there, which is always a nice touch. You also get a holster for the sidearm on the right of his waist, so that the option is available as well if you want to keep the weapon stored on the figure. Overall, both those storage options work pretty well, very functional and look good on the figure. Unfortunately, there's no way to store the axe, which is a bit of a missed opportunity. He also has a few magazines sculpted onto the figure, but those don't come out. They are just a part of the sculpt. Personally, I really wish those were separate accessories because they would have added a lot more play and display value. So taking a look at the figure itself, I think this is actually a pretty decent release by Hasbro. And I can definitely see why a lot of people wanted to include him in their top 10 figures of the year for 2025 lists. This is a very nicely sculpted figure, at least by Hasbro standards, and I think they have done a really good job here. There isn't a ton of paint going on, but you can clearly differentiate between different elements of the figure. You can see it on the weapons, the knee pads, and even the magazine sculpted onto the belt. The figure, however, does have an overall glossy Marvel Legends finish, which I am personally not a big fan of. I really wish Hasbro had gone with a more matte look here. That's probably my main complaint with this figure. That being said, overall he looks really good. The boots are nicely sculpted, the uniform looks solid, and Hasbro did a pretty decent job capturing the look of the character as he appeared in the series. The skull emblem is also nicely printed and looks quite sharp, which really helps sell the Punisher look on this figure. Taking a look at the head sculpt, and I think it's quite good overall. That being said, I really would have preferred an alternate expression. The expression we get here feels a little too bland. I mean, this is the Punisher, an aggressive, or angry looking portrait would have really worked so much better. Hasbro, in case you're listening, come on, you gave the man an axe. You cannot expect him to swing an axe with that expression. You know what I mean? An additional head, something more intense, more attacking, would have really elevated this figure and added a lot more display value. Now, to be fair, they have definitely captured the actor's likeness here, and the face sculpt looks more refined compared to his earlier Netflix Punisher release, so credit where it's due. Overall, he still looks good, but another portrait would have completely sealed the deal for me and made this figure feel even more worthy of all the praise it's been getting. Taking a look at the articulation, starting off with the head and neck, you do really get a good range of motion here. He can look up nicely, look down pretty well, and overall the neck articulation works exactly the way you would want it to. You can definitely get him into some solid poses and some nice still shots. Moving on to the arms, you've got the standard T-pose, full 360-degree rotation at the shoulders, and overall range here is pretty decent. The butterfly joints are present, but honestly they could have been a little bit better. Hasbro could have really pushed those a little bit more. And then again you have the standard Marvel Legends articulation with the arms, double bicep, the wrists, etc, etc. The ab articulation isn't the strongest, but at the same time this is pretty much what you expect from Marvel Legends at this point. There's only so much Hasbro seems willing to do in that department. As for the legs, he can do the splits a bit. You do get a thigh swivel, and overall it's very standard Marvel Legends articulation. Nothing surprising here, nothing revolutionary either. So yeah, articulation wise it's decent. It gives you enough range to pose the figure properly, but there are definitely areas where Hasbro could improve, and well, they usually don't. It's just Hasbro being Hasbro, and we all know how that goes. So, taking a look at some size comparisons, we have the Daredevil Born Again Punisher alongside a few figures from different lines. We have him next to the McFarlane Toys Azrael Batman, the Marvel Legends Venom, the Star Wars Black Series Clone Wars Darth Maul, and of course the Biker Series Punisher with a custom head. So what are my final thoughts? Well, I think this is a pretty decent release by Hasbro. It's not the best, but I can understand why people would include him in their top 10 figures of 2025 lists. Personally though, I wouldn't put him there. For me, this is more of a standard Marvel Legends release. He does have a few good things going for him, but in my opinion, he's not worthy of a top 10 or even a top 20 spot, especially considering how many genuinely great releases we got in 2025. When you buy a Punisher figure, you expect a big gun, a rifle, a machine gun, something, and that's where Hasbro clearly cheaped out. On top of that, an alternate head or portrait would have gone a long way in bringing out the best in this figure. But once again, Hasbro decided not to do that, and of course the ab articulation. Yeah, that's another area Hasbro continues to ignore every now and then. That being said, the figure is a must-have if you're a fan of the MCU Punisher. Yes, now officially the MCU Punisher. And especially if you're invested in the Daredevil Born Again series. If you're building out your MCU display, this figure absolutely makes sense. But if you're just looking for a great Punisher figure, honestly, I'd probably still go with the Biker Punisher. That one for me just hits harder. Or the new Punisher in the 2-pack with the whole Gamerverse and Marvel vs. Capcom thingy that's going on. He comes with Nick Fury. That is a very, very good piece to actually have in your collection. And with that, we have reached the end of this review. If you enjoyed the video, do the usual YouTube ritual. Like, comment, share and subscribe so the algorithm gods don't smite this channel into oblivion. And if you didn't enjoy this video, well, like and subscribe anyway, alright? Confuse the algorithm, live dangerously. Either way, it generally helps the channel out more than Hasbro helps us with accessories. Until the next review, take care of yourselves, take care of your families, don't overpay on the aftermarket, and always remember, till all are one. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao. Now go be awesome.